Hello, welcome to Cuba. No, I mean Yara, or as I like to call it, hell. Because this is where I'm going to spend the next 30 hours of my life in absolute suffering. The rules are simple. Any damage from any source means that I have to reset to the latest checkpoint. I will, however, be making two exceptions. One is fall damage, because it's absolutely busted in this game and you can take damage from jumping on a slope. I do not have the mental patience to deal with this. The other exception is scripted damage, because it would be pretty anticlimactic for the run to end because of what is essentially a cutscene. I will also not be able to use any of the amigos in the game, as that would make it too easy, and I hate myself. With that out of the way, the run begins with a very difficult choice: my gender. I decided to pick the female Danny, since those numbers really aren't looking too good, and I figured some diversity might help. Anyway, a guy whose name I can't remember gets domed. And after crawling through the sewers, we get to escape Yana. But unfortunately, Giancarlo Esposito, best known for his show-stealing role in the hit series Once Upon a Time, spends half the game's budget ranting about fish, kidnaps his son, and then murders a dozen people. Honestly, I'd vote for him. After that, I washed up on Tutorial Island to make friends with the local gorillas, who gave me a quest to pick up their resident alcoholic from rock bottom. And on my way there, I took the first damage of the run. What? What was that? Fucking salmon! The first reset of the run is from a salmon? I already hate this. Then I'd forget to press record for the actual mission. All you really need to know is that it was easy, and the writers really want you to think John is funny. He is not. What was funny, however, was that John then sent me to steal uranium and weaponize it. With a radioactive rocket launcher strapped to my back, it was time to start the first actually challenging mission of this run. The objective is simple: burn down all the plants used to cure cancer. This is actually the plot of the game. I'm joining the war against cancer, on the side of cancer. And to help me with this, we get Julio, possibly the worst NPC in any game I've ever played. Why are you stood in front of me like this? I'm gonna blow your brains out, but below my cover. Julio does not contribute anything useful. All he does is strategically place himself in the most inconvenient position possible at all times. I'm also stuck up here because of this stupid fucking NPC. Okay, well, this is your fault. On top of this, I also had to contend with my own stupidity. Wait, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot! I done it all perfectly, and then I thought, oh, I'll grab that before it blows up, and it just blew up straight away. Why would I do that? And one of the worst game mechanics I've ever seen. You see, in almost every game ever made, when you reset to the last checkpoint, you will also have all of your ammo reset to what you had when that checkpoint saved, because this makes sense. Farcry, however, is a game that does not make sense. So when you reset to a checkpoint, the ammo you used is not returned to you. And in a mission where the flamethrower is a necessity, running out of flamethrower ammo is a slight problem. Blow up this car. It lights a fire that misses everything important. Having to improvise new forms of arson would drag this mission out significantly. And the longer the mission continues, the greater the chance that I will screw up. Oh, for God's sake. Alright, let's start again. After far more resets than I want to admit, I'd finally destroyed the cure for cancer and prayed I'd never have to work with Julio again. With that out of the way, I was desperate to escape Tutorial Island, so I set about speedrunning through every job that needed doing. Stealing a tank from the military would make this significantly easier. Then, it was time to destroy the blockade, where I would play as stealthy as possible using silenced weapons to pick off each enemy one by one like a true assassin, until I screwed it up. No! Alright, at least I get to test this out. I have a shotgun with a scope on it. And it lights people on fire. All subtlety has gone out the window. Luckily, stealth doesn't really matter when you have an attack helicopter covering you. Jesus! With the boats destroyed, I could finally escape the living hell that is Tutorial Island, and as a cherry on top, Julio got captured and brutally beaten to death. He's being tortured! Let's fucking go! You know, I'm really starting to see why people would vote for this guy. After all, who wouldn't want star of the 1991 cult classic Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man as El Presidente? Anyway, now I was free. The map opens up and gives you a choice of 3 different factions to meet up with. I randomly picked the Montero family. Former tobacco farmers who were mad at the El Presidente for attempting to cure the disease they had worked so hard to spread around the globe. To introduce myself to the family, I interrupted Camilla in the middle of a peaceful negotiation. Unfortunately, it's here where I discover that just like every other NPC in the game, Camilla's brain don't work so good. So she would be no help whatsoever in escaping from the reinforcements, which was genuinely difficult. No. Originally, I tried just blasting my way out, which didn't work even with the shotgun shield, since you're rushed from all sides by enemies with poison gas. So naturally, when faced with something mildly challenging, I resorted to cheating. The reinforcements in this mission will only spawn once Camilla leaves the building, so I got her stuck on the stairs and then tried peacefully leaving without her. Since the objective is to escape, I figured there's a slim chance that simply getting out of the area would count. Yeah, I didn't really think this was gonna work anyway. So then I unstuck Camilla and pushed her out the front door to work as a meat shield whilst I hid in the bushes like a coward. From here I could pick off every enemy one by one. And while this was effective, it was also extremely slow. But apparently Camilla was so impressed by my cowardice that she introduced me to the rest of her family. After that I became a caretaker for the Montero family, doing chores for them all across Yarnum. And I was honestly surprised by just how easy this challenge run was. With the combination of the MS-16, which has the accuracy of a sniper rifle but twice the fire rate, and the El Miro, a shotgun shield combo that would save me from getting railed every time I screwed up a stealth segment. With these by my side, I thought I was unstoppable. But the gods would see fit to punish my hubris with the bane of all challenge runs, a turret section. Before starting this challenge, I had actually attempted to no damage run Farcry 3, but this would be cut incredibly short early on by the first turret section. So when I climbed into the back of that truck, I could feel nothing but dread. And at first, it really wasn't looking good since I was completely unprepared. This loadout wasn't going to cut it. So I had no choice but to quit the mission completely and find the perfect loadout. And I actually did a lot here, upgrading the shotgun to fire solid slugs with greater accuracy and damage, stuffing my LMG with explosive rounds, and equipping some new grenades. But that would turn out to be completely useless, because all I needed was a simple grenade launcher with EMP rounds. These were ridiculously overpowered, to the point they made this segment completely boring, and I switched off every vehicle the moment it arrived. So after my peaceful ride home, I third wheeled some family drama. The characters in this game are so boring I legitimately forgot what this was about. And then I got told to go and assassinate the president. And considering I was only a few hours into the game, it seemed like something was up. After being stuck at this doorway for half an hour, I broke into the El Presidente's office, but he wasn't there. This was another unfortunate loss in the war against cancer. For some reason, the president had left his son behind for the guerrillas to feast on. But Danny is a character with no sense of humor, so she didn't do the funny thing and blast the kid away instantly. With my assassination attempt an embarrassing failure, I headed back to what was left of the Montero family to help them cook up some napalm. Fun fact, you can only be held accountable for war crimes if you lose the war. Napalm that we would then use to burn down more fields. I would like to remind you the plot of this game is that the president is forcing civilians to work in the tobacco fields. The same fields we are now drenching in napalm. The good guys, by the way. Doing this would draw out Jose Castello for a boss fight against his attack helicopter. At first I thought I could just one-shot him with the EMP grenades. Surprisingly, the game doesn't let you just end a boss fight in a single shot. So, after many failed attempts, I managed to find the perfect spot to shoot without being shot back. Since Jose seemed to really tire himself out, we gave him a quick snack. Before moving on to meet the legends, we get another great scene with Giancarlo Esposito, best known for his role as video gamer in the 1986 classic Maximum Overdrive. Jokes aside, these scenes are actually the best part of the game. Anyway, the legends are veterans of a previous revolution in Yharnam, and like every character in this game, they are at best forgettable and at worst annoying. Meeting them leads to meeting La Morale, a group of revolutionaries that are totally relatable young and hip millennials that definitely weren't written by boomers. La Morale would send me to free some prisoners that were being held on a boat. Naturally, like every prison break mission in any piece of media ever, this was a trap. And escaping would be a real problem, because I was cursed by another turret section. And this turret is not good. Luckily, the game allows you to simply exit the turret as soon as you enter it. This meant I could use a lock-on rocket launcher and a Supremo to take out the boats. Please God, tell me this is it. I did it, boys. I'm so goddamn oh god. After that, the next few missions were incredibly easy. From taking selfies with human rights violations to ambushing convoys, nothing really felt like a challenge. So as I was stealing a tank for the legends, I would make the horrendous mistake of thinking this challenge was easy, and the gods would once again punish my hubris. But this time, not with another turret section. Oh no. This time it would be much worse. This small room is where I would be sentenced to spend the next few hours of my life. In a normal run, this wouldn't be a problem. All you have to do is tank some gas damage whilst turning a few valves. But in a run where I cannot take any damage, a situation like this was a nightmare. At first I thought there was only one valve, and the solution was simple. Just shotgun rush the enemy and turn the valve. I did it before you could even turn it on.
This will all be over soon.
Wait, my optimism would be shattered by the realization that there were in fact 4 valves that needed to be turned. This was going to be a complex puzzle. Eventually I figured out the trigger for the poison was there being only one enemy left. So that meant I had to turn all 4 valves whilst keeping out of sight of at least 2 enemies. To do this, I attempted many different strategies, using everything I could think of to manipulate the enemy's movements. From shooting walls to throwing baseballs, even using the EMP Supremo to put enemies to sleep. Absolutely nothing seemed to work. I thought maybe this is where the run would end. But as the Michael Jordan of video games, I wasn't going to let some gas stop me, and I realized the solution had been staring me in the face the entire time, in a beautiful golden barrel of poison. It truly was ironic that the solution to my problem lay in the very thing that had been killing me, because poison causes enemies to turn on each other. This would buy me just enough time to turn off 3 of the valves. Now only 1 remained, and there were just 2 enemies between me and victory.
You are all going to die here, and I will deliver.
Come on. Surely. There's no way. There's no way there's any poison.
How did they get to all the valves?
Oh my god! I am so good. Unfortunately, my victory will be cut short by the very end of the siege when General, what's her name again, is cornered and takes a hostage. Now this part really bothers me, because no matter how fast you pull the trigger or how good your aim is, the game physically does not let you fire your weapon until after the general has fired a shot of her own that is guaranteed to hit you. So fuck you, this is scripted, I'm carrying on. From there, I was subjected to the horrendous torture that is listening to characters talking about their tragic backstory. This is an unskippable mission, by the way. But then I realized something. When characters start talking about their past, that can only mean one thing. They are going to die very soon. I should say at the end of this mission I did take damage again, but it was also scripted, so... Then the next mission involves sneaking into an office to hack some computers. And I was explicitly told that the people working here are civilians, not soldiers. So naturally... I killed them all. We are also introduced to the extremely subtle Trump standing. Please God, stop trying to be funny. After that, I thought the run might come to an end once again, as I had to escape from another building being flooded by poison. Luckily, I'm a genius, and by equipping gear that improves movement speed combined with some parkour, escape was easy. The next mission, however, is where I would truly lose my sanity. The objective here is to guard 4 panels whilst the poison manufacturers overload. The problem is that the enemies here spawn infinitely. I realized this after spending 10 minutes trying to kill an endless horde. And there are also no checkpoints between any of the panels, meaning that I had to start over again every single time that I screwed up. And I would screw up a lot. This led to a lot of frustration, which then naturally led me to conceiving of a conspiracy theory that humans could not possibly create a game this frustrating, and the devs must therefore be lizards. Yep, that was what I wanted. Yep, don't go through the window. Lizards. Lizards. Actual lizards. Actual lizards designed this game. Why did you have to do that? I'm gonna scream. I am gonna scream. Actual lizards that live underground and secretly run the world and are trying to drive humanity in the ground by making game design choices that just make absolutely no sense. They're trying to grind us down. Challenge runs are not good for my mental health. The next mission would restore just a small part of my fractured mind, as I managed to steal a tank, making everything somewhat easier. And I also got to kill McKay. Do I get a choice? Easy. Sorted. We're all good.
Adios, McKay.
Alright, now there was just one area left before I could move in on the big man himself. Unfortunately, before meeting the next group of gorillas, I would make a terrible mistake. For hours at this point, there had been a mission in my journal to help John sell some Vivero to the deep state. I thought this mission would be simple. Just pick up some boxes and drop them off. But then I realized something. I'd forgotten about my dentist appointment. Here we'd finally meet face to face with Giancarlo Esposito, best known for his role as man being arrested uncredited in the 1984 classic Brother from Another Planet. But after what was by far the most interesting cutscene so far, the challenge run would come crashing down. Here, the objective is to outrun the fire and escape. But no matter what I did, I absolutely could not escape without being burnt. First, I tried equipping fireproof gear. When that didn't work, I equipped every piece of gear that could give me a speed boost, even going so far as to increase my mouse sensitivity to turn even faster. But there was nothing I could do to escape the flames. So, after countless painful hours, this is where my adventures in Yara would come to an end. But honestly, I didn't feel too bad about it. I'd overcome so many challenges that seemed impossible, and after all, maybe the real challenge run was the friends we made along the way.
What's that, mate?